Hi, welcome to my Leafy Couture Flower School YouTube interviews. So this interview is with Sophie, who is the principal tutor at McQueens Flower School. I loved chatting to Sophie. It was super interesting to find out all about what she does. So I hope you enjoy the interview. So I'm here with Sophie from McQueens.
Hi.
Hello, thank you for talking to me today.
Thanks for having me.
Yay, and I love this. This is fabulous.
The
Beautiful.
trademark.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you so much. I love florists and meeting florists who like do what you do. Do you know what I mean? In terms of like all of the excitement and the colours and all that. Yeah, I love meeting new people and people who understand the crazy world of floristry. So tell me how you got into it.
It's not the most fascinating story. I trained as a teacher, an art teacher for secondary school kids, and absolutely loved the kids. They were the best part. The archaic curriculum, bureaucracy, and all the paperwork was what put me off. So although I had worked as a teaching assistant in a few schools in the art department, I decided it wasn't the right time for me. I was about 24, and to be honest with you, I came from a small town. The bright lights of London City were kind of taking me away. I just wanted to go and try something else. So I moved to London. My brother let me live with him for a bit. Absolutely fell in love with the town, city, and ended up by working in retail. It was always my Saturday job in a shop, so I just fell back onto retail. Kind of loathed every minute of it. My brother bought me a course at McQueens. It was a hand tie day course. So this was about 11 years ago. And I went and I picked the bouquet up and I spiraled and I was like, well, this is pretty cool. Always quite fancied working in a job where I could get paid to make things. I studied fine art, so always desperate to make things rather than be academic. And after that, I thought, right, how am I going to get into this? I couldn't afford to do a full-time course. I couldn't afford to go back to uni or college. I'd made my decision to live in London, and that was it. I needed to make some money. So I wrote to a number of London florists and just to see if I could go and do some work experience. Before I quit everything, I thought I'd better just make sure that I like this. I jumped from career to career to career beforehand. And so a lovely shop in Covent Garden welcomed me. I was going there twice a week for about a year in between my retail jobs, so I didn't actually have any days off. Those days at the flower shop were like my weekends. They were what I lived for. It was like, yes, 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 to go and make stuff. I remember making my first hand tie. It took me hours. The flowers were completely dead by the end of it, but I thought, right, this is what we're doing. And it just so happened that the girl that I worked with was good friends with somebody who worked at McQueen's. And I was looking to... Oh, I skipped a bit. Sorry. I was working at the flower shop, work experience. Stayed there long enough until a guy got fired and I got given his job. So I then quit retail, worked in the flower shop, apologies. And then a friend of a friend told me that there was a position going at McQueen's for junior florist. So I thought, right, well, McQueen's is the one, so I might as well give it a go. Awesome. Which was a bit cocky, I think, at the time, because I didn't really know that much at all. But I thought, well, let's just go for it. Got the job. And then, funny story is that I was actually hired to be an in-house florist at Claridge's, which is one of our main hotels. And I was interviewed in the winter, and I then fell off my bike, broke my collarbone. Ouch. They saved my job, and I went back a couple of months later, and it was hot, and I went in a t-shirt. Callie, the owner, took a look at me and thought, well, you can't work in Claridge's, can you? Or because obviously you need to be quite smart, perhaps. And she was completely right. And so I ended up by working in the main shop, became a contract florist, and then that was it, really. Stayed there for nearly 7 years now.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. All thanks to my brother buying me that course.
It's mad, isn't it? How like one bouquet can then set you off on a different path.
It's absolutely crazy. I think also, I think what happens with flowers is that people, when they're near them, often people are nervous, but they kind of bring a sense of confidence just because they just are so tactile. And so when you do a course, or when I did that course, I was just like, really felt at home doing it. And I think it just becomes a bit, well, you could probably say this, it becomes an addiction, perhaps to a toxic level at times. But it is one of those things, you know, you pick it up and that's it. You're captured.
Right. I think, yeah, I always say, like, when you've got flowers in your hands, like, nothing else matters. Like, the whole world just goes away, doesn't it? So I think that's why people are drawn to want to learn and want to, like, be immersed in it all the time, aren't they? But
absolutely. They really are. They do just get you. Even if in the school, for example, you have somebody who's particularly nervous, within a few minutes, they're in their own little world. They're happy. Mind's off, whatever it was when they walked in the room. And I think it's the same, even if you're knocking out a lot of bouquets every day and it feels like really hard work and it's really cold, every time you start that bouquet, you're in this sort of different zone. It's actually very therapeutic.
I think it goes for the delivery as well. You know, when your flower delivery arrives, it's like Christmas Day, isn't it? Again and again,
yeah.
Flowers come in. Oh, and that
was brilliant.
I love it.
We order a lot online, actually, in the school, just for ease, because we're there all day, and so it's actually better than going to the market in the morning.
Right.
And there is that moment of, just like Christmas, but a bit when your crazy aunt gives you a present, you're kind of opening it a bit nervous, so thinking, oh, did I get the right thing? Is it okay? But then you open it, you're like, right, here we go. And then that's it. It's done for the day.
Yay. And it's good as well. I think this job that you, that delivery that you get, even if you've ordered it on a screen or whatever, all the seasonal stuff as well. You know, you still get that hit every few weeks as new things come in. You're like, yeah.
It's brilliant. Honestly, you can't get bored. There are a few sort of points in the year where I'm itching for the next thing. I can't believe that we've gone through almost mimosa, lilac season, and now we're on to smoke bush, and I haven't had my hands on any of it, and I had so many ideas for smoke bush.
We need to go for a walk. Go for a walk around London with your snips in your pocket.
Everybody's doing it. Everyone's got bags at the minute filled with flowers. Someone's going to get caught at some point, I think.
And not in parks.
In parks, just in the dark.
In terms of, so you work at McQueens now, and you are working in the flower school. So you're the principal of the flower school.
Yes.
How exciting is that? That's like amazing. And then they're like drool, like all over well, my career actually, you know, watching McQueens and stuff, because I'm up in Yorkshire and it's down there in the big smoke, big site in London, and all the videos, you know, like the birthdays that McQueens have had, and all the, you know, it's so well documented, isn't it, to share.
It's incredible. Honestly, I remember going out for a consultation with a new contract client, and I went with Callie, and it was right at the beginning, and I was sitting there going, what have I done? You know, I'm a real rookie here. I've, you know, as you do, you have an audition kind of thing. You have to come in for your job and you have to make bouquets and stuff. So I got the job, but I'm sitting there with Callie and thinking, well, when I leave here, where's next? Because for me, McQueens was always that point.
Hi.
And although there's so many other amazing flower shops and flower schools, including yours, out there, for me, living in London, it was just like, Christ, what am I going to do after this? The pressure is on. But yeah, in the school, we are really fortunate that we have amazing videographers and photographers, that document us and our work. And I just completely forget that people can see me, if that makes sense. And I just had a student that came last summer, and now really good sort of text friends, and he was telling me that when he first arrived, he hid in a tree around the building because he saw Andrea and I leave to go and get a coffee or something, and he got really nervous. Just like, wow, I mean, honestly, it's just not what it's not that. I mean, for us, it's just, let's just learn some cool flowers.
Yeah, let's just play with
we are It is amazing. We're very, very, very spoiled at McQueens, and we do get to have amazing experiences. And
So tell me where
it's overwhelming at times, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it's fab. It's always so. In terms of like the course planning and stuff, where do you like have like a syllabus that changes, or do you kind of start beginning of the year, or how do you work it?
So what we do is probably around this time. In fact, I did it a couple of months ago because we got locked down. We start planning the courses for the next year. So that's already happened. Basically, it's a bit technical. We just look at how well the courses sold the year before, and we plot in the calendar where we think they would be most popular. We have a lot of international students, so we have to look into when their holidays might be, what wasn't busy the time before. So in that sense, we kind of have to look at a lot of things. Curriculum-wise, we actually run a 4-week course. And that curriculum is the same. It's the same all the way through the year, mainly because people, let's say you're coming from abroad, you might plan that trip for a year. And so you need to know what's going to be in your curriculum when you plan your flights and your hotels and all of that. So we actually stick to quite a strict 4-week curriculum. Of course, when new trends come in, new designs, for example, the suspended design above the table, everyone's gone wild for it. It's been around now for a couple of years. We never taught that. So every time we see a new design, we then bring it to the curriculum. But we really try to make sure that all the lesson outcomes, the learning outcomes, are pretty much the same from curriculum to curriculum. It's just the actual design or format that might slightly change. Ideally, for me, a student will leave knowing all the fundamentals, but will also have had their mind open to the fact that as a florist, you can make anything out of anything. And that's what makes you a good florist. So if you want to make an arch out of a load of old bins, do it. Yeah. If you can make it look good, do it. So for us, the curriculum is quite similar. We do run different day classes, like taster days, master classes, and they will change from season to season, also depending on whether it's spring or summer. We'll then adapt the day classes around designs that might work well at those specific times. So we are quite fluid, and yet we're quite rigid in what we teach.
Yeah, amazing.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So, okay. Where do you think you get your inspiration from? Like you and then McQueens.
Oh, so I studied art, and I went to university and I studied art.
Where did you? Which university?
Originally I went to Southampton, and then I left, and then I was living in a pub. The pub got shut down. This was in Kent, and so I had to move in with my parents. Sort of 10 years later, moving back in with them, it was hard, I'm not going to lie. And I thought, right, well, this is how I wanted to get my teaching degree. So I went back to complete my degree in fine art at Reading University, and then went on to get my teaching degree. And so I must admit, throughout my fine art days, it was a case of blagging a little, one might say. I'm not a particularly arty person. Love art, love colour, and so I would always do more installation pieces. Right. So it was always either large scale or found items, and I think that that's actually where my floristry influences come from. People like Lewis Miller, I don't know if you know him, but he's amazing. Goes around New York City and decorates. Just amazing. I love it. So that would be where it's from. It's mostly from found items. I've always loved colour. My mother never let me wear black. We've never had black clothing in the house. So I think that's where it stemmed from. My crazy mother. But when it comes down to
my whole wardrobe is black lately.
Is it?
Black or flowers. Yeah.
I bet you look lovely in it. Honestly, I think just because I don't wear it, when I put it on, I just feel really like, oh, this is a bit strange. But that would be where my particular designs, I think, are based around. Unfortunately, I've always had a bit of a mindset that more is more. So one might say my installations might have a higher budget, which I'm just like, cram it, more. Whereas, now with the real interest, let's say, in Ikebana floristry, where less is more, I've been in many lessons of it. I love it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's actually opened my mind to thinking less is more. I just can't do it, though. When I come to make an installation, it's like, keep going. More. And then when it comes down to McQueens, because I started at McQueens so early on in my floristry career, the flower heavy aspect, which is what it was probably when I started, it was very much monofloral, flower heavy, actually not much foliage at all. I think that's where I got addicted to it, and I've kind of carried it on throughout. McQueens now has over 100 people working for them internationally and here, and so you can imagine there's so many different styles, and there's so many different influences, so many people obviously from different countries. I think at one point a couple of years ago I was the only English person in the building, or pure English, if that makes sense. I felt a bit boring, to be honest. I didn't feel as exotic as everybody else. And so there's many styles from different countries all coming in. And now I would say McQueens is very much an all-rounder. They do
house style kind of as well.
That's it. And wild, more monofloral, compact, loose, Ikebana style, just loads and loads of stuff going on. Everyone is pretty much encouraged, so long as the client likes it, encouraged to bring that to McQueens, which is brilliant because it's a real melting pot of loads of stuff going on, rather than following somebody else's design, where a lot of flower shops also work successfully, but we're just a little bit different.
I like that as well, though. It keeps it fresh, and it keeps the inspiration coming all the time, doesn't it?
It does. It is absolutely brilliant. That it's a bit of a, it's not, how do I say it? I don't want to say a free-for-all, because it's not. The way that Callie has run McQueens ever since I've known it is that she has given full trust to the florist in charge. So, for example, if you had a contract, you had a hotel, it would be completely down to you to liaise with the hotel, management, order your flowers, choose the vases, design the mood boards, everything. Obviously, if it goes wrong, then it's you they're ringing at 3 o'clock in the morning and you have to go and sort it out. But to this day now, everybody is assigned contracts or events that almost suits their personal style.
That's it.
It is cool. There is a bit of a battle of the egos at times, because they're like, "Oh, I could do that better," or "I could," but actually, it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, amazing. Oh, I love
it. It's cool.
So you were saying, in terms of the flower school that you work in, so there's quite a lot of students from abroad that come in as well. And then have you travelled quite a lot with McQueens as well then? Yeah,
we've travelled a few times. I would say the majority of our students are international. In fact, when I did my day course, again, I was the only English person in the class, and it was a real eye-opener. I thought, wow, I didn't realise that flowers were that interesting. Does that sound really bad? My grandmother used to do the church flowers, and I was like, oh, it's just dull as dishwasher. But now floristry is mega on trend. Like, everybody wants to have a go, whether it be just making a little vase or making something larger for a party they might be having. So internationally, we have many people coming from pretty much all over. And we do get to travel as well. Last year, I went to Korea, Kuwait, Italy twice. Year before that, went to Mexico. This year, last year I was supposed to go to Kuwait again, but my passport wasn't valid. It was a little hoo-ha. Then we're hopefully going to Mexico in September. Not sure if that's going to happen.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, exactly. Again, people, I can't stress enough how fortunate I am to work where I do, because the opportunities do just come. People will write to us and ask, we love McQueens, would you like to come and visit us? yes, of course. I mean, get me out. Let's go. And so it's really brilliant. And the other great thing is that we have a team of people. Again, I'm ashamed to say that I only speak English. Most of my team can speak Spanish, Italian, everything. And so obviously if we have a school somewhere else, then we often will send an Italian speaker or something. Yeah, it's amazing. It's super cool.
It is super cool. I love it. So
it's nerve-wracking though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You get on a flight, and the worst thing of all is you get to know your market, you get to know your traders.
Yeah.
You go and talk to the guys that you like the most, that have always been nice to you. You know what it's like at 4 o'clock in the morning. You just go to see the people that you know are going to be kind to you. Help me. Whereas when you travel abroad, you turn up a market where you've never been before. You don't have to speak the language. You don't know if you're buying a bucket or 10 stems.
Yeah.
You don't know what the money is. So it's all...
Yeah, and it's not your money either. It's someone else's money. That's always...
No, exactly. And I can't sneakily buy a couple of extra things and just go, oh, that's okay. Because it's somebody else's money. So I have to be really... It's good fun.
I think it's... I love... I'm the kind of florist that goes on holiday, and if I see flowers for sale somewhere, I'm like, I'll just buy a bunch for holiday.
Do you know what? Andrea, my partner, is like that. Wherever we go, if he sees a flower shop or something, he'll go in. And I'm not going to lie, I do sit there just going, can we have a day off?
Yeah, please. No more flowers, please.
No. Oh, but I love it.
And flower shops as well, when you go, I'm a florist, they just look at you like, really? Like, why are you in my shop? Get out of my shop.
I know. Just like, and then you have a moment of going, maybe I shouldn't have come in.
Yeah.
I'm just going to style it out and shop.
I'm like, what I was going to say. So, in terms of what is like your favourite thing to teach when you're
hands down, large installations. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I think my second favourite lesson would be teaching hand ties. Because that was what everybody learns that first.
Yeah.
And just the moment of when somebody puts something together and they just love it. They love what they've made and they're proud as punch that they did it. It's almost going back to being at school when you achieve something. And I think for men, I made this! And they take pictures with it, and it's just like, that is just so cool. I think for many, dare I say, adults, it's a long time through some people's career where they don't make something, like aren't creative. My mum has come to a few of my classes, and which is funny because she used to be a teacher, and she was always really nervous about coming if there was only a few people in the class, because she said to be creative in front of people is incredibly nerve-wracking. And so taking all of everybody's mindsets when they make a bouquet and they're really stoked with it, I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's really cool. But if it's on more of a vocational side, it's definitely large scale things. I love putting something up and then standing back and going, I made that.
Yeah,
I
made that. I love the rainbow that you made. Loads of stuff. I'm like, I love it.
Well, that was a classic more is more. Again, a sort of inside secret. We are really lucky in the school. The school is based above the main workroom of McQueens.
Right.
And so for me, I get a bit carried away with scale. So I'm like, right, we're going to make this, and everybody shove the chicken wire out. Brilliant. It's just gradually getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And although I bought quite a decent amount of flowers for it, we got kind of halfway through and we went for lunch, and I went to my colleague, Christopher, I don't think we've got enough. So we were scuttling downstairs and just secretly scooping more and more flowers. So budget-wise, it was sort of out of budget.
Sometimes you have to look at it as your marketing budget as well, don't you? You know?
Exactly. We actually made it for Pride, and then because of the rainbows that everyone's painting at the minute, we thought, we'll put that up again. It was super fun to make. But again, I'm waffling, sorry.
Amazing, I love it.
That was actually part of wedding week, and we were teaching an arch, how to make an arch. And of course, here in the UK, and maybe dare I say in London, there's a lot going on, and people are kind of more aware of different things that are going on. What I mean by that is, for that class, I was incredibly nervous to teach a gay pride art for, a gay wedding, because it was obvious that there may have been people in the classroom that had never heard of pride. And so for us, we try to do the London thing, sort of show off what's going on here, but we do need to be mindful of the fact that they've travelled across the world to learn wedding floristry. And so it was a little controversial at the time. Everyone by the end loved it. Yeah, thank God. But there is a moment where you just think, oh, have I kind of taken this a bit too far?
Yeah, you've got to push the audience. But
I think it was a great project.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think as well, sometimes it's just get that passion and that drive and that excitement. People want that too, don't they? They want to see you.
I hope so.
Let's do this. Do you know what I mean? And then
I hope so.
They go on the ride.
I hope so.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you being, a florist, of course, knows that it's about the mechanics.
Yeah,
flowers are brilliant. Don't get me wrong, flowers are the best bit of it, but it's actually about the mechanics. So if you learn how to make an arch, no matter what you put on it, you are going to hopefully be confident enough to take the same mechanics and put your choice of flowers on top. And that's where your style comes in. You learn the crucial bit, make sure it doesn't fall down and it's secure, and then you can dress it however you like.
Yeah, absolutely, that's it. And I think that's I am a massive believer in education in floristry, and I think there are certain things you can wing, but I really think that sound mechanics are totally everything. And I think I don't know about you, like obviously because you're working for McQueens and there's lots of people there, but I try and study it every year with somebody different, and I keep
brilliant.
Yeah, so I just think you can never, there's never one way to do something either, is there?
No, there isn't. And also guaranteed, if you're working for your own business, or you're working, you're solo, you're not working for a big company, someone will want a rainbow arch, and you won't have that shape arch or whatever in your little arch collection. And so you need to be fluid and going, it's okay, I've got the confidence, I know how to make it secure, I'm going to make it out of lollipop sticks. Probably don't recommend that, but so mechanics really are vital, and it's something that I personally quite passionate about. I think I've always quite liked working with maybe you could say the more masculine side of constructing things, but the other thing that has thrown everyone off a little is now foam free. Yeah, everyone's doing foam free. In fact, in the school, we've minimised foam down to 1 lesson a week. I believe it is really important that students learn how to use Oasis, learn how to fix it, learn how to make it secure, even learn how to soak it. The main business of McQueens has gone foam free. Even in events, we're not using foam anymore. But as I say, I think for students learning to go and do it by themselves, they need to know how to use it. So we have minimised it. But that can also play havoc with mechanics.
Yeah.
Because you have to learn a whole new thing. And of course, you can't teach 40 lessons of going, right, we're just going to put some chicken wire on here and put some tubes in. You need to kind of constantly be thinking of a different way of doing something, which is why, dare I say, all of these lockdown videos have been brilliant, because you're getting insights to everybody's secrets, which is wonderful. I don't know about you, when I first started floristry, it was, I can't tell you how to make that. I'm not going to, that's mine. Whereas now everyone's just up for sharing, and I think it's a fascinating situation to be in right now.
I mean, I remember going to market in Leeds, and people didn't have eye contact with other florists. That's what it's like. And that's why up here in sunny Yorkshire, I kind of set up to build a community and a floristry community to support each other, because I just think if you're all doing the same thing, and if, imagine like working on your own and being stuck and not knowing how to do something, like lying there in bed at night thinking, oh my God, I've got to make this for a wedding or this for an event.
I know.
And people don't help you. So
it's horrible. It's and also, you know what? Competition is good. It kicks you out the butt. It makes you keep going. But also, it's your style that's going to separate you. No one's coming out with levitating arches it's all based on the old principles. You know, yes, we're doing foam free and there's some new things that we need to think about, but you're not actually holding on to the gem of what your design is.
Yeah.
It's actually the style that you make it in, the flowers that you put together, and also how you are. So, do you know what? If people want to keep their secrets,
yeah, I teach my kids, the more you give, the more you get in life. That's it.
Absolutely.
And that can be like pick a mix, or it can be like floristry skills. It can be anything.
Absolutely. I don't share pick and mix, by the way.
Do you know, because obviously we're filming this in the time of lockdown and coronavirus. I had some sweets delivered yesterday to the local sweet shop is delivering.
Love it. I love it. So it was my birthday a week into lockdown. And so, I mean, everybody's having birthdays now and everybody, you know, seeming to be having a good time. But and Joe and I were sort of right at the beginning of lockdown. Poor him. I was like, I'm going to have a rubbish birthday, you know, moaning. And we ended up by going to the park and having a bag of chips. It was cool. But we had ice cream delivered. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. We could stay in lockdown forever. You could get anything delivered.
I mean, that's what keeps you going. That's it, isn't it? It's these things that keep you going. Oh, bless you.
Love it.
What else was I going to ask you on my list? I was going to say, what's your favourite snack at work that keeps you going?
It's awful. In the school, we actually have a kind of buffet of dreams. So it's to keep the students going. So there's all kinds of biscuits and things like that. I would love to tell you it was apples, or it's not. No. It's, you know, anything with chocolate, crisps. Anything. I must admit, when I used to be on the road doing contract floristry, so if you don't know, most of the time as a contract florist, you are in the van. You end up by having a van husband who's your teammate kind of thing, and you're up at 2:00 in the morning, no one else is up. It's actually brilliant because you can get up to so much mischief. So many stories from on the road. But it would be a case of we'd do a few hotels and then stop off at a well-known coffee shop, and they used to do a brownie, and that was the milestone in the day. It was this particular brownie. I don't actually know how much I spent on brownies. Too much.
Yeah.
But what's your favourite work snack?
We have a biscuit tin. We have one of our clients was. I don't know if you heard of Betty's.
No.
Betty's is like a Yorkshire institution, and they're like really beautiful, expensive cakes and biscuits. They have like a famous like scone called a Fat Rascal that's like a face. Yeah, anyway, they're gorgeous. One of our clients bought us a big tin of Betty's, and now that tin is full of biscuits all the time. But my girls tell me that they put on like 3/4 of a stone working for me because I'm a feeder.
Oh no! I must admit, when I started floristry, I did put on weight, which is mad because you're constantly lifting heavy things, walking on your feet. And I was just like, oh no. And it was the snacking, and then lost a bit of weight. But now being in the school with the buffet of dreams, game over. Game over.
I'm school just for that. I'm just for the buffet. I'll be like, sod the flowers, just give me the food.
Exactly. Just lie on it. Brilliant.
That's
anything, really.
What else? In terms of if you had like if a free, I know like you're not working on events as much anymore, but like if there was, you know, you were told, right, what you can do whatever you want to teach today, what's it going to be? Like, what would it be? What's your like dream?
Dream or something that I've done already?
Either, both.
Either. So when I became principal of the flower school, I decided that the only way you learn flowers is if you're out of the school. It's like when you learn to drive. As soon as the driving instructor's not there, that's when you learn to drive. And so I found a lot of people in sort of the neighbourhood, and a couple of people came back to me, and basically we now go there once a month to make installations off-site, and we have free reign of anything we want to do. We're really lucky because they shut the cafe for us, and so the students get
Oh, hang on a sec. Pause in. Hang on one sec. Is that better? Yay. We're good. Yeah. We're good. Nearly time for wine. Nearly time for wine.
Nearly time. Really? We start at 11. No, I'm joking. No rules in quarantine. It's brilliant. So just the fact that we get to take the students out is, for me, a real highlight, because I don't think that you actually learn how to do half the stuff until you're actually on the field. So you're setting up your first wedding and you realise you've gone 40 miles down the road without a pair of scissors. Things like that, you just have to think about so much. And it's happened to everybody.
Yes, it has.
Because honestly, it has. We turned up to do a contract once, which was a huge, big office building, lots of vases. And it was just a maintenance. The flowers were going to be fine. We knew the flowers were fine. We just had to top up the water. No watering can in sight. Not at all. There was no option going back to the shop. So we used, by the water filters, you get those cups. But we'll just use cups. So we were running around just filling everything with cups. Like, come on. It's hilarious. The things that happen. Anyway, biggest highlight is really getting the students out and about. If I'm talking about school life, that's a real achievement for me. It was something that I was really passionate to do. And now we have local businesses, and not so local businesses, wanting the school to come and do an installation for them. It works for us, it works for the students, but it also works for the restaurant or wherever, because people take photos, people have selfies, people, repost it. So it works in both ways. And it's really great when the students see their work being reposted. They're like, oh, I made that. We did one where we made these big cherry blossom trees, and we were invited to the party that was there that evening, which is why the trees were put in. And I had to pick one student to take. So I picked this lovely girl, Sammy, and she was sitting there, and the people were having their dinners. It was big, long sharing tables. And, oh my God, these trees are amazing. And I was just like, oh, she made them. And she was just crying. She was so proud. And oh, it kills me, honestly. It's just like, oh my God, it's brilliant. Because also people come from backgrounds where they're perhaps sick of their jobs, or they've never actually been encouraged to be creative. So, for example, her family were not really into her becoming a florist. They were very much business-minded, and don't really know what they did. They're based in China. And so for her to sit there and listen to this, it was just like, yes, I never have to go to work again because that's achieved. It was brilliant. Personal, actual thing that I've made that it was a highlight. We went to Venice this time last year actually, a group of us, from the school team, as well as Andrea, my partner, mainly because Andrea is Italian, and he deals with a lot of the, perfect. He deals with a lot of the logistics side of getting flowers, dealing with suppliers, things like that. So he organised everything for us to get there, which, if it was left down to me, would have been an absolute mess. I didn't even think, oh, hang on, there's no roads in Venice. How are we going to get the flowers from the port to the place? And so he organised the boat. We arrived. It was brilliant. It was so mental. It was actually for the Courtauld Gallery, which is a gallery in London. It was based around Renaissance paintings. It was a private party for the Venice Biennale. Brilliant. But for me, it was just the experience. We arrived at the dock, all standing there looking like East London, those hipsters, I guess. And there's all these Italian sailors, like old men sailors, staring at us. We're unloading like dyed gyp and kind of multicoloured fluffy things. And everyone's just thinking, what the hell's going on? And then we went and made it. We spent the evening drinking spritz in the plaza, went back the next day, added some more flowers. It was bloody brilliant. Absolutely amazing. Floristry, honestly, if anyone's listening, floristry can get you in so many places. You don't have to work in a flower shop. You can do so many things.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, flower shops are awesome, but it's just, we have now living in a time where flowers are really respected as a medium of art. And although I'm no artist, I love the fact that they take you from making a bouquet to making somebody's funeral tribute to flying across the world, or, oh, brilliant, honestly. And that was a real highlight because it it reinstalled the fact of why.
I remember watching that unfold, like sat at home on my phone, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
It was really funny. It was just like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? This is mental.
It's the power of flowers, though. Absolutely, the power of flowers. It's amazing.
It's brilliant.
Oh.
And the great thing is unlike, dare I say, drawing or other art forms. I mean, I'm terrible at drawing, but flowers, you can really generate your own style reasonably easy if you're confident with it. And so they really are, oh, look at me, I'm selling flowers. They really are accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And once you get over that nervous bit, your design might not come out like mine, but if you had a good time and you're confident about it, you could sell anything if you wanted to, as long as it was beautifully made.
Yeah.
That's why, I've gone on a bit of a tangent, sorry.
Oh, I love it. No, it's brilliant. Awesome. It's just like, I think, like, because I've like followed you, your work and stuff. I just love it. Every time it's just like something new and fresh and interesting. And I think because you've got that art background as well, it comes through in like the colours and the textures and like all of that stuff. It's not, and that I fully believe that flowers can take you to some crazy places. They've certainly taken me to some crazy places. And
absolutely. And I mean, there's many different flower schools that teach differently and have their own specialisms. And for us at McQueens, we're very much vocational. We're about making the designs that you could sell and you can make money out of. Some flower schools are more art based, and they're surrounded by experts in their field. For us, I can't take all the credit. I have a great team, and they also make brilliant designs. Things you can take it wherever you like, but
I think that's awesome. I think for anybody who wants to be a florist, like you've shared your journey, and I think it's just interesting to see like where it can take you, and like there's so many different options, and you've experienced a lot of it in terms of like contracts and shop work, and it's the best in the world. I love it, totally love it. And
I absolutely love it, but I am brutally honest to all the students as well that this is not an easy ride, right? So, it can be really cold, and conditioning tulips in the snow outside a van at 4 o'clock in the morning, there will be tears, but then you stand back and you look at what you've done, or you go home and you peel your wet clothes off and you remove all your mascara from your face. That was bloody brilliant. That was so much fun. And you get up again the next day, and all of a sudden 10 years have passed, and you look at your catalogue of what you've done. And honestly, I never thought I could even achieve half of it. I think a lot of the time you just get swept up. You're like, oh, okay, I'll do that. Because it's very quick industry, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Like the turnaround is instant almost. And so, you end up by doing things sometimes without a second thought, and you get home and you go, oh, well, I don't know how I pulled that one off, but I managed it and they liked it, so it's a bonus.
I think the lockdown situation is quite good for that as well, because it's a time of reflection, isn't it? Because we're not out there in the field, or we're not in a classroom full of people who are just coming in, and you're dealing with everybody, and you're massaging egos of people who are really nervous or really stressed, or trying to make people come together and do something and make sure everyone's happy and everyone's got the right amount of flowers and the right amount of support, all of that stuff that you have to do in a flower school. But I think it's interesting, like Instagram for me is a really good record of what I've done, like what the team have done over the past few years. That's I guess I post on there quite a lot as well, because it's so I can remember what I've done and why
absolutely.
Why we're so
There's definitely, I mean, thank God for everybody loving taking pictures, because growing up, I don't have photos of my school friends, and you see everyone taking videos of the kids. My parents didn't have videos of us that much. We had this dodgy old camcorder, so to be able to have this instant database of what you've done, what other people have done, that is so accessible, actually inspires me daily. I mean, that's where I get inspiration from, just by looking at other people's work, whether it be a flower combination that Putnam have just released, or a particular large install that maybe Rebecca Lewis Law has just done. You can take all these little elements and you can make them yours. Plus, yeah, I can't remember half the stuff I've done. So just looking back, obviously I've been doing the whole throwback to last year on the Instagram because we haven't got anything else to put on.
That's it. A lot of people
I did that. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's really good. But it can also, I always say to students to document your work, even if you hate it, take a photo of it, because not only can you see the stem count, so if a client ever says, oh, could you make this, you could roughly figure out what you put into it, but also you can see how you develop. I look at designs that we did a couple of months ago and I think, oh, why did I choose that flower? It just actually doesn't really go. And so definitely document your work, also to help your memory.
Yeah, so important. That is a really good tip as well. It's a really good tip for florists who are learning, is to take photographs of the work, and then they can see, you can definitely see progression. Definitely. God, when I look at the first beginners we used to make, like back in the day, you know, there was thistle and then the bright pink gerbera and
Love it.
tris, you know, all of that.
Love it. Gerberas are coming back. Did you know that?
Yeah, well, I mean, you get a lot of bang for your buck with a gerbera, don't you? I don't buy them off. I just don't. Like those in Alstroemeria, I just don't get on with Alstroemeria. It's the one thing I can't do. Great, thank you. That was amazing.
You're welcome.
Lots of inspiration.
Thanks so much.
Well, yeah, fabulous. What I'm going to try and do as well, I'll put like obviously a link to McQueens and your Instagram stuff, if that's okay.
Yeah, amazing. That'd be great. That'd be really good.
Awesome. Right. Thank you so much.